Alright guys, so here come the video notes on quadratic formula still, except now we're going to get what we call irrational numbers. This is nothing new. We've been doing square roots for probably the last couple months, so this is not that big of a deal for most of you guys. So let's kind of just get into this, see what's going on. Alright, so for question number 1, first of all, it's set equal to 0, so we don't have to worry about that. We've got our A, our B, and our C. Okay. Let me just grab this quadratic formula over here. Here we go. All right, so back to our business here. All right, so you guys know the quadratic formula, just kind of off to the side there. So let's do our thing. So again, x equals opposite b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, so you guys all know this. And again, we talked about simplifying what's in the box. So hopefully I've done my math right and taking care of all the numbers in the box. I should get a 12 and all over 2. Okay, so this is where things start to change up. We pull this off to the side and we test it. Square root of 12 does not come out to be a whole number. It ends up being something like 3.464 or something like that. So basically that means is we've got an irrational number, something that cannot be turned into a fraction. So this way we have to go to our old rules of how to break a 12 down. Now I'm bringing this chart over here back in the picture. If you guys remember this junk, right, where we got to go through our perfect square list. And we start taking this 12. One second here. So we start taking 12 and we divide it by these numbers. So again, 12 divided by 9 decimal, 12 divided by 4 works out to be a 3. So we know that's a perfect square. So if you're in my class, you put it in the same box. We would do 4 times 3. If you are in Mr. Rooney's or Ms. Schulte's class, you took it in 2 separate boxes like this. In either case, we break out the 4 as a 2. So our final answer is 2 root 3. So you guys are going to have to go back to the old days of simplifying square roots if you don't get a whole number. And this whole worksheet's about this. All right, so then you take this and rewrite it. So we get x equals negative 4 plus or minus, and now we've got our square root simplified all over 2. Okay, now believe it or not, that ends up being the answer because we know that we're not allowed to combine regular numbers with square roots. They don't match. They're not like terms. So there's no reason to split this up. So this is considered simplified radical form. The only thing that we have to do, and I'm going to kind of show it to you in a highlight, is take the whole numbers and, if possible, reduce all 3 at the same time. And again, sometimes it's not possible. Sometimes that is your answer. Okay, but if you can, pick a number, grab a number that goes into all 3. It has to be all 3. It can't just be 2. Okay, so in this case, and again, I'm going to get back to my pen. In this case, 2 can go into all of these. So I can reduce all 3 of these whole numbers by 2. Oh, sorry, let me get back to black here. So my final answer will be x equals, and again, reduce this by 2, reduce this by 2, reduce this by 2. Now, this will be a minus 2. Plus or minus is still there. We're going to get a 1. And on the bottom, we're going to get a 1. Now, you guys know that when you have 1s on the bottom, there is no fraction. And most of the time, of course, they don't write the invisible ones in the front. So this is kind of a little extra, but the true geek way of writing this would be -2 plus or minus square root of 3. That doesn't always happen because of the invisible ones it does. Okay? All right, we'll do another one. All right, so let's take number 2 here. Let me get my stuff lined up here. Got my list of perfect squares. Got the quadratic formula lined up. All right, so let's go again. Now you guys can see what's going to happen here. First thing we're going to do is make sure that we have our formula set equal to 0. So we've got to get rid of 20. And again, most of you guys did really good on this. So this isn't that big of a deal. So I got x squared plus x minus 11 equals 0. And now I'm ready to go with the quadratic formula. So here we go. X equals opposite b. Now remember, a is invisible 1, b is invisible 1, and c is negative 11. So opposite b is going to be negative 1 plus or minus square root b squared minus 4a and c all over 2a. Okay, and again, most of you guys are really good at this. It's not that big of a deal. All right, and a little calculator work. X equals -1 plus or minus. If you take, again, we always do the box. The box meaning the stuff underneath all this mess. If you do that, you should end up with 45. You guys make sure you check me here. For those of you guys have iPhones, make sure you're using some type of a emulator on your calculator. Calculator X is the best free app there is right now. Okay. All right. So once we get to this step, we're pretty much done. We just got to do some testing so we can finalize our answer. So if you test square root of 45 in your calculator, you will not get a whole number. I got about, I think, 6.708, something to that effect. In either case, no good. So we've got to break 45 down. And again, I'm just going to take 45 divided by this 25. Doesn't happen. 45 doesn't happen. 45 divided by 9 does happen. We finally get a whole number, which is 5. So again, my class, you guys will be writing down 9 times 5. Schulte and Rooney's, you guys will be writing down 9 and 5. Either way, doesn't matter. Out of the 9 comes out a 3, so we both end up with 3 root 5. Okay, so instead of writing square root of 45, we're going to write the simplified version. So nothing's really changed. We're just changing the look. This is not changing the value. It's just changing the look. Sorry about squishing that in. Okay, so again, we know this is our final answer. The only thing we're going to look at, and again, I'll highlight them, is the whole numbers. So I've got a 1, a 3, and a 2. Now, there are some cases where nothing can be reduced, so that is your final answer. Don't panic. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, that is your final answer. All right, so for the final one, let's kind of get the screen cleaned up a little bit. Here we go, number 13. Oops, sorry about that, you guys. All right, so for number 13, you can see that we've got to get it'll set alone, set equal to 0. I'm going to zoom in real hardcore on this. Here. I'm on black, good. So, same stuff. The biggest deal with this is you've got to get plus x squared to both sides. You've got to subtract 8x from both sides. And you've got to put it in standard form. And again, most of you guys are good at this. Don't forget though, x squared plus x squared is 2x squared. You're just combining like terms. The 8x in the middle and a plus 3. And it's set equal to 0, and that's what we want. So we've got our A, we've got our B, and we've got our C. And that's really what we're looking for. So what I want you guys to do is kind of pause this and get down to the final step and see what you get. So if you did this correctly, it should look like this, and I'll take you through it real fast. Putting it in the formula, which you guys have been good at, You check out square root of 40. It's a decimal. Break it down using your square list, right? Again, my class will be 4 times 10. You guys, Rooney and Schulte will be square root 4, square root of 10. In either case, it comes out to be the same thing. Okay? And then we work it basically back over to the new form. And this is where we work our simplifying. Now again, we're just trying to do one thing. The whole numbers only. And again, I'm just going to highlight it to make sure we're clear. Never, ever mess with the thing inside the square root. It's all about the whole numbers. If you can't do all three, you can't do it at all. So even if you can just do 2 of them, guys, don't do it. Okay, so the only number that goes into all 3 of those, and we saw sometimes it doesn't do any of them, is 2. So the final answer is 4 plus or minus. You could do the invisible one. Most of the geeks don't, right? You guys know what I'm saying. All over 2. So there's our final answer. Okay? So back to the clear worksheet. Your homework assignment is simply to do number 10, 12, and 14. We will post the answers after it's due. All right, so give it your best shot. All we're looking for is effort. And again, you guys know, simplify all the whole numbers that you can. All right, good luck.